to my channel. So today's video, I thought I would do something a little bit different, but something that hopefully is helpful to some of you, maybe that you've never been to Orlando before, you're trying to work out budget and things like that, and you just want a bit of an idea of how much things are out there at the moment, how much to budget for per person. So what I thought would be really useful is to do a budgeting kind of video dedicated to what we kind of spent as a couple in Orlando for 2 weeks, and I will kind of give you like a rundown. I'll kind of separate it. I'll give you a rundown of like our holiday costs itself, like spending money, how much things are out there, things to like, tips to think about, stuff to factor in like parking, tipping, etc, etc. So hopefully you might find this video kind of helpful, and hopefully won't make a big mess of it, and it'll be like simple to follow, because I know what I'm like. I go on tangents, so I'll try and stick to a direct list, if that makes sense. So hopefully we'll make a heads or tail of it. So what I'll start with is that for two of us, we went to obviously Orlando for 2 weeks. It was amazing, and we did Walt Disney World. We had the two-week park tickets, and we did Universal Orlando as well we had the park tickets for 2 weeks for those. We stayed in at the Rosen Inn on International Drive, and we flew with TUI from Manchester Airport to Melbourne Airport. So this was a brand new airport for us. We knew we were going to be driving an hour and a half to get into Orlando from the airport, but that was fine because we did car hire as well. So kind of factoring all that in, and how we budgeted for this holiday. During COVID, we saved a lot of money because we knew we wanted to go to Orlando again, and we just didn't know when it was going to happen. So we took that time and we saved some money then. And then in January, we had no plan to book it a certain month. I remember it was so random. I probably got the January blues, you know, after Christmas, and it's cold and it's miserable and you're like, I've got nothing to look forward to. I was just searching, and I remember one night Ryan was at football and I was searching and searching. I had been randomly here and there the last few weeks for any kind of date really, and seeing what I could play with, what the best deals I could get and things like that. And then I found a date around Ryan's birthday, which I was like, well, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? Like, to go to Orlando for your birthday, bloody hell, like that sounds like the dream. So I was like, wow, so that's around Easter. So we actually flew on Easter Sunday. Now the deal that I got my Simpsons notebook here with all the details, because I could not remember figures off the top of my head. So for our flight and hotel, it was about £1,800. So that was our 2-week flight from Manchester to Melbourne, and then our hotel stay for 2 weeks at the Rosen Inn on International Drive. So we then obviously, we ended up booking that because we were like, that's great, like that's everything that we wanted, like perfect. In the past we had stayed at Universal. I've been twice before. Ryan's been loads when he was a kid, but together we had stayed at Universal's Cabana Bay, and we'd done that twice and it was amazing. But obviously this time around we wanted to save money. We wanted to do it on a bit more of a budget, and Rosen Inn was just, it was perfect location. It was coming up at a cheaper, it was the best discount price that we got at the time, and yeah, it was just perfect. So, and I'd heard good things about it. I heard a lot of people staying there, so I was like, right, perfect, we'll go for that. So then after, we knew we wanted to do the park tickets. So obviously previously on our other trips we booked through Virgin, and they always had them add-ons, and I think we booked through them, well, like adding the Disney ones on, but obviously this time we weren't with Virgin, so we started shopping around. So we priced up ATD, Attraction Ticket Direct, see what the best deal we could get with them. We priced up Florida Tix. So we priced up Florida Tix with single tickets, and then we did combo tickets as well. The combo tickets came up cheaper, and it was literally by like a £5, so not a lot, but the combo tickets for Disney did include Genie Plus. So we weren't someone that paid for Genie Plus there and when we were there like every day. We had already prepaid that in with our holiday package, so we kind of factored that in. So our Florida Tix combo tickets for both Universal and Disney World including the Genie Plus, were £1,708, and that is crazy money, isn't it, when you think about it? It's just like park tickets, but both of us £1,708. Then they did have an option to add £40, which was protection, peace of mind. So peace of mind protection, I don't know, in case COVID, something happened with COVID again, or something happened, we couldn't make it and we wanted to refund, we could. So we added on the £40 just in case. So we added that on, and then we also had car hire. I can't remember the exact figure for car hire, but we did get a really good discount with Andy at Florida Discount Car Hire, and he booked us through Avis, which we picked the car up at our hotel at the airport in Melbourne. And that was a really simple process. It was perfect for us. Like, everything went really, really smoothly. I don't know if we've just got lucky, because I'd heard mixed reviews with Avis, but for us it was perfect. Everything went swell. And I want to say it was like around about the £500 mark we got for our car, something like that. All in all, I think the holiday cost us just over £4,000 with everything. Like, I think also factoring in like car parking at the airport, things like that. We also had COVID tests. Obviously you don't need to do that now, which is amazing, but things like that, I think it was just over £4,000, like everything in. Obviously, spending money is a whole nother ball game. So the best thing that we did was get a Revolut card. I cannot recommend Revolut enough. It's so good, and it's so good having the app on your phone, and it's, I don't know, it's just so easy to use. So we got the Revolut card. You can do bank transfers, you don't get charged to use the card out there, which is amazing. And yeah, we just found it really easy. If you're with like a group of people, and sometimes it's easy for just one person to pay for ease, you can, if you've added your friends on the app, so you've added everyone in your party on the app, you're all friends with each other, you can request split bill, or you can request transfers, things like that. It's really, really easy. We just thought, yeah, it worked for us, so that was great. So we could also transfer money from our bank to the card if we wanted any more, and it would give you the best rate on that day. So I highly recommend looking into Revolut. There are other cards as well. I've heard good things about Monzo, and there are some other ones out there too. So I'd highly recommend having a little search about for different cards to use out there. Saying that, we did still take some cash, because it's really easy sometimes to have cash separate for tipping. You don't have to, of course. Everywhere does pretty much accept card, but I just do like to have a little bit of cash on me. We use it for sometimes for car parking, keep that separate, tipping, things like that. So what we tried to do a budget with was, for us, I like to take more than I need and hopefully bring home some money. And if I haven't, I'm like, oh no. But we did bring home some money, so that was good. I had in my head £100 per person per day, so that was in pounds. So that's about 1,400 each, and then we converted that to dollars. So that probably would have given us about maybe about $1,800 each, which is a lot of money. But I didn't want to be like I'm in the middle, like I didn't want to be super splurgy, but I didn't also want to be worrying, ooh, can I buy that drink? Do you know what I mean? Like, in the middle, I wanted to enjoy myself and not have to worry too much, but at the same time also I didn't want to go crazy, because you can do it a lot cheaper than we did it, you can do it a lot more pricey than we did it. So it's up to you, and obviously it depends on your budget and circumstances. We did have some sit down restaurants booked for Disney World, so we don't always do a lot of these. I think we've done a couple in the past. This time, I'd say this time round, we had more than we've ever had before. So we had Ohana's breakfast. We really wanted to try that. So that came to about probably the $70 mark. This is just kind of a round-up figure, not the exact ballpoint of what we paid. Say about $70. Ogre's Cantina, that was for Ryan's birthday. That was a bit of a splurgy place, and because it was Ryan's birthday, we had some drinks, and he did get quite a pricey drink in there. So our bill did come to about $90 in there. 50s prime time, I'd say that was around the $70 mark for us. San Angel Inn was around, I feel like $80, something like that for us. The Boathouse was around the $90 mark. So obviously these are your Disney dining that are a lot pricier. You don't have to eat in a sit down restaurant, but they are a nice luxury add-on if you want to do that. But obviously we had a select amount. So just to give you an idea, you can look on the Disney app and online before you go at the price points of all those restaurants, so you can kind of weigh up your options of what you want to buy when you're there, where you want to go, and then obviously make your reservations in advance to get those restaurants. So that's really important to remember. However, you don't have to do that, and there are, if you're in the park and you want to eat in the park, there are quick service options. But if you don't want to even do that and you really are on a budget, you're staying in a villa or somewhere, you want to make up food, pack lunches, go for it. You can take in food into the park with you. So you can do that, or you can grab some quick service or some snacky bits in the park. That's perfect. So quick service is usually, I would say, budget in your head about $15 to $20 per person. It really depends what you want to eat and where you're eating. I feel like at Satuli Cantina we probably spent about $38 for us both, and I remember, or probably about the $40 mark, roughly about there, and we got 2 meals and then we got a dessert each, and then we did get a speciality drink to share, and we also had our water on us. So I think that was about $38, something around about there. But obviously there was some quick service meals that we had that were a lot more affordable, and they came to just under $30, so $10 cheaper. But obviously it depends what you want. Again, I highly recommend having a look on the Disney app or online at all the quick service restaurants in Disney World, or even if you wanted to go Universal, have a look at the quick service options there. They're similar kind of price points, so recommend doing your research before you go. That can kind of help give you a ballpoint figure of what you want to spend for lunches or evening meals, things like that. I highly recommend having a look around for like snacks. I say like some snacks about, you can get some snacks that are like $6 that are really big. I mean, like the Gaston cinnamon bun, that's a great one for breakfast. You could share that with someone with a coffee, or you could just have it for yourself. That's about $6, and that's, you get a lot for your money for that one. The Mickey pretzel as well, they've gone up in price, I swear, from the last trip we did. But again, I feel like for a snack, for your money, you get quite a bit. So it really depends on what you want to do. Great places to save money, like for breakfast, for example. We didn't, I think when you watch our vlogs, actually, it's not like we go for breakfast every day. We had a few days where we had a breakfast, but however, we did buy in Walmart some snacks, so like breakfast bars, that's what I'm looking for. They were not healthy ones. I can't remember what they were, but if you've watched the vlogs you would have seen. But sometimes, some mornings, I'll just literally grab one of them, and I'm not like, I don't always eat breakfast every morning, or I can not eat at all and then eat at lunchtime. But obviously this depends on your party, what kind of things you like. Everyone's very different, so we'll sometimes just grab one of them and then would have a quick service lunch, or we'll eat out in the evening. Some days we'll probably have about 2 meals in a day. We would not have 3 meals in a day, and sometimes it would be like, I'm trying to think now actually, so like the days that we did, I'm having to put myself into like a position of what day we did what. Like some days we would have like a quick service lunch in the park, and I remember having a late like steak and shake at night, which was obviously a lot more affordable. It's like kind of McDonald's kind of prices, so things like that. If you just kind of budget what you want, where you want to eat. Obviously there was only 2 of us, we don't have kids, so I feel like we're a little bit more flexible. We didn't have to think about eating earlier in the evening, but obviously you know your party and what they want, so everyone has like different needs and wants and things like that. So, but there's definitely ways to save money with food and drink. I highly recommend taking water with you. Whether you've been to Walmart or Target and bought a load of bottled water, take that in with the park for you. It will save you money. However, they do offer, like, there's fountains around, so that's free. However, you can also go into Starbucks and ask for just water, and they won't charge you for that. So yeah, just ask for kind of like tap water and they'll give you it iced, and then that way you save money, because I think some waters were $3.50, some were $5. I can't remember, it depended what brand it was. But a lot of drinks, like if you're getting like energy drinks or like fruity drinks, anything that's not water, they're probably about $5-6. And if you've not really planned ahead and you've got a few of you and you're all wanting to buy drinks, it's gonna add up. So definitely taking water with you, or you taking a water bottle and fill up in the fountains or in Starbucks, other cafes, places like that. So that's a good one to think about, because that's something that will just rack up really quickly, and you want to stay hydrated when you're out and about in the parks in Orlando, because it's hot. Always think about parking. So that's something in my head that I always write down before we go, because it goes up and up all the time, I swear. The first time we ever went, I think parking was $20. It's now 25. So for Disney World is $25 parking, which is crazy, and Universal is 27, which is madness. So think about parking if you're in a car, that is. If not, think about Ubering. I mean, we did Uber a couple of times, and obviously your price depends on time of day and things like that, and what kind of size vehicle you require. So yeah, we only did that a couple of times, so it's kind of hard. But we did use Lyft actually, because one night Uber was so much more like crazy expensive, so we used Lyft, and that was coming up like, I'm talking about like saving $30. It was crazy. So shop about as well if you've not got a car, but if you have got a car, factor in car parking. Universal, after 6 p.m. it's free. We did watch someone go in at like 5:58 and they paid. So make sure you go in after 6 if you're wanting to. Don't do it by the minute, because they will literally charge you. I could not believe like seeing someone being charged and then like literally 2 minutes later it's free, but it is what it is. It's the rules. It's after 6. And yeah, sometimes at Disney later on they're not manned, and it's like, I think it was like maybe like 8 o'clock at night. But don't bet on it. Don't bet like, oh yeah, it's going to be free, because it might not. Sometimes they are manned and you will still get charged even going in late at night. So, but it's just a bonus if you don't. But always factor in your car parking, because that's a hefty price point in itself. Also factor in tipping. Obviously you tip over in America, and we always give about 20% or a bit more for our bill of wherever we're eating. When you're in Disney parks at quick services, or if you're Universal parks at quick services, you don't require to tip then. However, if you are having a sit down meal, you are required to tip, which is absolutely fine. But kind of factor that in with your party. Obviously it's going to add on top of your bill, so think about tipping, think about housekeeping tipping, things, just bits and pieces like that. Just always have in the back of your mind you will need some money for that, and that's why I prefer to kind of have that as cash. You can add it on your card. We've done that quite a few times, where you literally kind of sign your receipt and then you add in, you write down what you wanted to add for your tips. You can do it that way, but I also like to have it separate sometimes, just make it easier to have like a kind of sum of money for tips, parking, things like that. Make sure if you're driving and you're coming in, I don't know if you do from MCO, I don't think you do, but from Melbourne we did hit a few tolls, so kind of factor in, make sure you've got some coins on you, and that's really helpful to have, just so you can slot them in. I think we only hit about 3 tolls maybe on the way from Melbourne to International Drive, 2 or 3. And yeah, it's just helpful just to have some coins there on standby for that. Also, if you're driving, depending where you're going, you might need some extra petrol. We had our car full of petrol when we picked it up, but we did then do a trip to Clearwater Beach, so we did need to fill it up then, and then obviously we needed to fill it up just before we returned it to the airport as well on our day home. So think about petrol money, things like that. And then when you're buying merch out there, we got merch, we got a few things for ourselves. We definitely treated ourselves like things that we wanted, and we bought gifts for family and friends as well. Just to give a ballpoint figure of a couple of things, just to give you an idea if you're really not sure, like Spirit jerseys, I'd say they're similar price points actually, both Universal and Disney. They start around $75, around that. So if you've got that kind of figure in your head, they're quite expensive. About $75. Mugs, depending what kind of mugs, maybe between $15 and $25, depending on the type of mug. Ears, Disney ears, like Mickey Minnie ears, they get pricey. It depends what one you get, but around the $30 mark, I would say. So if you've kind of got that in your head of a figure, you're not too shocked when you see it in there and you're like, how much? Baubles are an expensive thing as well. Obviously it's a lovely thing to buy, but baubles for Christmas trees, they do loads, but they kind of factor in your head about anywhere between $25 and $35 maybe, around that point. I think every bauble we've always bought has been about, well, either 28 to 32, something about that. So kind of another thing to think about, like they're not cheap, so just wanted to give you a ballpoint figure of a few different things that you can buy out there that are great things to buy, but they are kind of pricey as well, so kind of factor that in. We did have a credit card with us just because obviously going over to America, I like to have a credit card in case of emergencies, you just never know. However, I feel like there was one point that we actually needed to use it, and I feel like it might have been with Uber, but I can't quite remember. It was something to do with that. I think it's either Uber or Lyft. For some reason our cards wouldn't work on the app, and I don't know why, because I feel like we've used it before and it was fine. It was just, I don't know if it was a blip, but there was a couple of times where we needed to use the credit card instead, and that worked. And yeah, I'm not too sure why, because then there was another time where it always worked fine. So I don't know if everyone likes to take a credit card or anything like that, but we definitely like to take one. We like when we go over to America, because you just never know. Just have it on standby in case of emergency. I feel like I've just like rambled loads of figures and different things at you there and it's just quite a lot, but do a lot of research before you go. If you've never been before and you're really anxious about like how much to take and things like that, do a lot of research. Like I said, if you want to eat in certain places, just look at menus online. It kind of gives you a ballpoint figure of like what you want. Make sure when you get there, go to places like Walmart or Target and get some snacky things for the room. Get water, or have water bottles ready to fill up, things like that, things that will like keep the cost down. Although we budgeted like around, I don't even know what it would be, like £100 per day, which isn't, it's more than that. I don't know what it would be in dollars. I didn't have like Monday and then like in my head I'm going to spend that. Some days I wouldn't spend a lot of money at all. On our water park days, for example, we had lunch but we didn't really buy much, and there was days where we didn't buy any merch or things like that, and we saved it to the later on. So some days we really wouldn't spend a lot, and some days we would spend a lot more. Like the day on Ryan's birthday, we spent a lot more because we ate at 50's Primetime Cafe. We had drinks at Ogre's Cantina, so that added up a lot. And then on that day as well, we had a quick service lunch, so we ate at Woody's lunchbox or Andy's lunchbox, one or the other. So we did spend a lot more on that day, and then there'll be days where we didn't spend a lot at all. But obviously having that Revolut app, you'll be able to, you can constantly see how much you're spending every day. It tells you how much you're spending every day, which is really helpful. You've got your figure there and you know how much you've got left. You can use the split bill feature, things like that. It's really handy. So definitely recommend looking into a card like that, because it was just really useful to use over there. But obviously if you're staying on Disney property or Universal, you might not need a car, so that's going to save you money there, like with parking, things like that. However, you might need to use an Uber or a Lyft a couple of days, say if you're staying on Disney and you want to go to Universal. But definitely do your research of what you want to get out of it. Obviously our combo tickets, for instance, on Florida ticks for our Disney tickets and Universal, because I think we got them in one, but our Disney, they would have been a bit cheaper if we didn't have the combo tickets that included Genie Plus, things like that. Like if you don't want Genie Plus, that's going to save you some money. I might do a separate video on Genie Plus in itself, like tips, tricks, what we thought of Genie Plus. If you wanted to see that, let me know in the comments. I'll just give you an overview now of like, we enjoyed using it. I don't agree that they replaced the old FastPass system that was accessible to everyone for free. With this, that you have to pay $15 per person per day. I think it's extortionate. It is crazy and unnecessary. However, because we had it and we kind of had that factored into our holiday cost, once the holiday had been paid off, we didn't really think about it and we just had access to it every day, and we definitely utilised it, and we really enjoyed saving time and getting on everything that we wanted to do and more. So we did definitely benefit from it. But yeah, I don't agree that the old FastPass system had been replaced by it, which was accessible to everyone. Do your research for sure. Maybe ask people in your party what they want to do, like your top priorities of what you want to do on the holiday, whether it's rides, food, like anything, like maybe it's not in the park at all and you want to do something else. Maybe write a list of priorities and then kind of venture out of like researching of like how much certain things will cost. And it will just kind of help. Spreadsheets before you go. Just do all the spreadsheets you need when you're planning this trip, because it is it's not like a holiday like when you're going to somewhere else in Europe for like a nice sun beach holiday. This is like, you have to put work into planning this. It's like a lot of work, I'm not gonna lie, but it is fun, and the planning is a whole part and fun process of it. But I hope this was useful in some way, and I highly recommend the Rosen Inn on International Drive. It was a great hotel, it was a great location. I would definitely stay there again. It was clean, great location, and it did its job. Like, we don't spend a lot of time in the hotel at all. We didn't even use their facilities, we didn't even eat breakfast there. We just literally used the room, and that was it, and it was perfect. It was fine. We missed Cabana Bay, I'm not gonna lie, because when you've gone from the Universal Hotel at Cabana Bay, which is beautiful, and then you stay at somewhere else that's off-site, obviously it's not going to be as amazing, but it was still perfect, and it did not like affect our holiday whatsoever. We really enjoyed it, and the rooms were so much bigger than we thought they were going to be. We got 2 massive beds, we got the whole separate area like the bathroom, but it also had like the fridge in there, and it had like coffee machine, like it had all the facilities we needed, ironing board, iron, like it was perfect. Really, really good, and for the price point we paid, we could not moan at all. So I definitely recommend looking at the Rosen Inn, and I think they've got a few others. There's Rosen Inn Point, and I think there's another one that we saw as well. So have a little research around, see what kind of locations work better for you. It might be that you want to stay on site at Disney or at Universal. Either way, everyone's budget's going to be very different, so just kind of factor in like your priorities and what you want to get out of your holiday, really. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling now because I just keep going on little tangents here and there. But really hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye.